Hi everyone, welcome to the Celebrity Diaries. Laurence Fishburne is really a champion in the universe of amusement, known for his great reach and enamoring exhibitions. He plays taken on key parts in various significant ventures. For example, the exemplary conflict film End of the World, now the earth-shattering show Young Men in the Hood also. The notorious framework set of three, his ability isn't restricted to the screen, as proven by his Tony Grant win for his execution in the play Two Trains Running. Moreover, his depiction of Ike Turner and What's Affection Have to Do with It procured him an Institute grant assignment, solidifying his status as a flexible and exceptionally regarded entertainer. Notwithstanding his proficient honors and the reverence of fans and associates, Lawrence's need to persevere some profoundly individual and excruciating encounters. These embarrassing and insolent minutes have come from those nearest to him, adding a layer of intricacy to his life that stands out pointedly from his public picture as a respect. Entertainer. In 1985, Laurence Fishburne wedded entertainer Pilgrimage Namas, and together they had two kids. Their child Langston was brought into the world in 1987, followed by their girl Montana in 1991, and in 1993 when Lawrence talked to the New York Times, he and Hajna had currently isolated. The partition was especially extreme for Lawrence, a feeling reverberated by Martin Sheen, who was an individual entertainer, as well as Montana's guardian. Sheen imparted to the distribution that the circumstance was profoundly agonizing for Lawrence. By the mid-90s, Lawrence, initially from Augusta, Georgia, had gone through a lawful separation. Furthermore, was focusing on promotion, progressing his profession. In 1999, Laurence Fishburne assumed the notable job of Morpheus in The Lattice, a film that immediately became one of the best science fiction motion pictures of all time. Made his strong execution, established his status as a significant star in Hollywood only 2 or after 3 years in 2001 creation. Started on the profoundly expected continuations of The Lattice. It was during this time that Lawrence met entertainer Gina Torres. Their association was quick, and they got connected with that equivalent year in September 22. Lawrence, then 41, what's more, Gina, 33, secured the bunch in a delightful service. The couple extended their family in 2007 with the introduction of their girl Delilah. For quite a long time, the Fishburne family partook in a time of relative quiet and security. Anyway, this piece was ultimately hindered when Lawrence's girl from his past marriage, Montana, began making titles. In November 2009, Montana Fishburne, Laurence Fishburne's little girl, ended up in hot water when she was captured for endeavoring to sell her body. She wound up arguing no challenge to a lesser allegation of intruding and got probation just a couple of months after the fact. That in February 2010, Montana was captured again, this time for a fight with her sweetheart's ex, as indicated by TMZ. Lawrence stepped in to help his girl by taking care of the expenses for her lawful safeguard, trusting she could conquer these issues. What's more, track down a superior way in life in spite of her dad's help. Montana picked a disputable course. As opposed to turning her life around, the 18-year-old joined up with striking diversion a half-year later. The organization reported the delivery of her cozy video, making a rush of media consideration and adding another layer of intricacy to her generally grieved life. It's astounding for her. Imagine that the little girl of a Hollywood genius like Laurence Fishburne would go to such a disputable calling. Montana Fishburne made sense of today. That she found a profound interest in closeness after her most memorable involvement. With the time of 17, she was enlivened by Kim Kardashian's gigantic achievement, following the arrival of her cozy video with Beam J, and trusted that following a comparative way could assist her with accomplishing popularity in Hollywood. Spurred by this thought, Montana embraced the stage name Chippy D and entered the grown-up media outlet in a frantic endeavor to safeguard his girl Laurence Fishburne and some of his renowned companions. Allegedly reached distinctive amusement, proposing to purchase each duplicate of Montana's DVD, an arrangement that would have cost them a great many dollars. As indicated by TMZ, they even employed lawyer Yale Gallagher to deal with the exchange. Sadly, when Yale contacted Striking's leader Steve Hirsch, the DVDs had proactively been disseminated. After the video's delivery, Montana imparted to TMZ that while her mother was stressed, she stayed strong. Montana hadn't addressed her fate there straightforwardly, however. She had heard he was very upset. In spite of this, she trusted her father needed to help her in all that she did. Montana communicated trust that in spite of the fact that her father saw her choice as bad now, he would come to see it emphatically later on. She additionally uncovered that she never told her father about her new profession ahead of time. He found out alongside every other person when the news broke. In the long run, Montana connected with her dad, yet he was extremely annoyed. He told her that she was not welcome in his life until she made some serious changes. Laurence was additionally stung and humiliated that she utilized their well-known last name in the video credits. This made the circumstance significantly harder for him to acknowledge. He felt profoundly disheartened and battled with the public consideration it brought to their family. Montana's inconveniences didn't end with disturbing her father. Only weeks later, her video hit the stores. Grown-up entertainer Brian Pumper delivered a DVD called Fats, Rhymes, and Dimes 14, which included unapproved film of him in Montana. This was a major issue for Montana as she hadn't consented to the arrival of these individual recordings. She immediately got her legal counselors required to prevent Brian from bringing in cash off their confidential minutes, assuming the show encompassing Montana Fishburne wasn't an adequate. Number of things took another turn when simply a month after the arrival of her video and the leaf fights that followed, she was shipped off an anxious program. As indicated by TMZ, Montana decided to spend something like 30 days in a Southern California office to address a few private matters and get help after her vocation in the grown-up industry stopped. There were reports that she was seen moving to a respectable man's club in Houston, despite the fact that affirming her current is a troublesome exercise. Her Instagram shows she stays dynamic and adaptable, giving brief looks into her life since these occasions regardless of the difficulties with Montana. Laurence Fishburne and his significant other spouse Gina Torres were getting along nicely together. Their relationship appeared solid, and they even worked together expertly in 2013 when the two of them showed up on NBC's Hannibal anyway. In 2015, Laurence wound up managing more difficulty. Laurence Fishburne's 82-year-old mother, Hattie Fishburne, made headlines when she contacted the New York Post, uncovering her troublesome circumstances. She shared that she hadn't addressed her child since a year prior, following the demise of Laurence's dad. Laurence Fishburne Sr. Patty is as of now living on $3,000 every month from her federal retirement aid and attempting to stay aware of her $1,500 month-to-month lease, driving her to get an expulsion notice from her loft. Haidt added, "For 20 years I supported my child's vocation. He guaranteed me he would deal with me. He guaranteed me a house, a brilliant retriever, a calico feline. Right up till now, I lack a Christmas present or a thank you mom present." When news broke about Laurence's stressed relationship with his mom, it immediately turned into a delicious story for the prescription. Seeing the reason why, here's a mother who is simple surrendered such a great amount for her child just for him to become fruitful and apparently move away from her. This sensational contort is the very sort of shocking story that tattle magazines flourish with. However, everything about them were focused on giving something beyond shocking titles, as indicated by court archives we've acquired. It appears to be that while Laurence and his mom had a troublesome relationship and were not in standard contact, the case about their absence of correspondence seems, by all accounts, to be valid nonetheless. Laurence was all the while giving monetary help for her. At that point, she freely examined her inevitable removal toward the end of 2015, when Patty confronted removal from her loft due to neglected lease. What is going on developed so seriously that grown-up defensive administrations needed to step in to take care of her turn during this interaction. They found a heap of uncashed clerks, really taking a look at that, were intended to pay her property manager, demonstrating that Hattie had the cash to cover her lease anyway. A later assessment by a doctor uncovered that Hattie was battling with mental illness. This condition made it troublesome for her to deal with her day-to-day needs and make sure to take care of her bills despite the fact that she had adequate assets and was getting monetary help from Laurence. Hattie was in the long run moved to a helped living office, and Laurence covered every one of the costs for her consideration. In spite of this liberal motion, the media decided not to feature this reality, liking rather to zero in on the more emotional and deceiving anecdotes about Laurence. As far as anyone knows, forsaking his mother, as indicated by data from All About Them, as Hattie's lone youngster Laurence was offered the opportunity to turn into her conservator, which would have involved settling on significant choices on her sake. Anyway, he decided not to take on this obligation. All things considered, he kept on supporting her monetarily by paying for her helped living and other related costs. The job of conservator was then doled out to a man named James Sullivan. Thanks for watching this video.